Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to this other edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. Today, we are going to be looking at efforts to combat ghost towns by our respective municipal authorities. With the move to always seal shops, we find out whether this move to wanting to seal shops across our municipalities in the northwest and southwest regions are the best ways to fight ghost towns. We also are going to be looking at the preoccupying situations out there at in the northwest region with the burnings of the dormitories of PCSS Bafut and that of Mancon. Who is behind this and why is the question that we are asking you all to tell us. Good evening. Once again, we are going to be discussing these two topics, which our panelists who already are seated. Dr. Michael Dimancho is in the house with us. We're glad to have you this evening.
Thank you, Leo. It's a pleasure to be here once again, to be able to discuss issues that are touching on our society, especially on the Anglophone crisis. We try to look for solutions so that peace may once again be lived in our regions. Thank you for inviting me.
What is touching you as coming from the northwest, and what is that news that touches you as coming from the southwest and northwest regions?
Well, the only news that, one among is the fact that most children are not still going to school. And of course, when we understand that schools up to today are still being those areas where there are no-go zones. I usually say that schools are temples of learning, and once these temples are touched, of course, it's every household that is felt. So I think that education is a primordial issue where nobody should be against, and we all have to unite ourselves to be sure that there's continuity in education. We should be developing minds that tomorrow will not be able to rule our country. So I think that one of the things that touches me more is the fact that we still have children in the 21st century who are not going to school, and we are part of the problem, and we are part of the cause of they are not going to school.
Okay, we tomorrow are going to be looking at the installations of the regional council executive by the governors of the respective regions in Cameroon. We also are going to be looking at the presidential decree appointing secretary generals across the regions tomorrow, but also we are going to be looking at the outing of both Ebenezer Kwanga and Ayabacho, who all have condemned the actions of the separatist fighters. According to these two leaders, the separatist fighters are rather going after those that they claim to have been protecting. So we'll look at these two topics tomorrow, but I want to get their reaction to this when you listen to Ebenezer Kwanga and Ayabacho Lucas today.
Sincerely, I've not yet listened to that.
Okay.
Sincerely, I've not listened to that. They are out. Yes, I discovered that it's there. But I don't think that there's anything serious that they can be saying, because they are the ones that are playing this game behind. They are struggling to pit those boys one against another, and in doing so, while they are sitting over there in Europe and enjoying themselves, they cause these young ones to be killing themselves here. That's something that I think if you listen even deep into the message they have not listened, it will just be about that. In the idea of condemning, what are they condemning if they cannot condemn the whole thing? So those are some of the things that I would not want to believe that they are really out to help the situation. They are rather creating more conflict.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I think.
Okay, you think that they should just stay quiet. Also with us is Ba Akwen. She is one of the vice presidents of the PCRN party led by Cabral Libi. She is vice president in charge of the ladies in the diaspora. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Akon. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to all the televiewers of Prime TV. I want to send my greetings to all the militants of the CPNR movement scattered around the continental globe. I also want to bring out the fact that 4 kids were being killed in Bamenda recently. By
one of them was buried today.
Okay, so we saw that 4 kids, adolescent kids, were being killed by unknown. I say unknown gunmen who came and took our adolescent kids without telling us what they did. So you see that the rampant killings of our children, of our women, is being it is growing like wildfire. So I really want the government of Cameroon to, because they are the one who is supposed to solve the problem and know where to touch for this problem to come to an end. So of course, so not only security, because we do not need only security, we want the problem to come to an end. So I really want the government of Cameroon to look for a lasting solution to quench this problem that has become a nightmare to so many Cameroonians.
Okay.
Thank you.
We are awaiting the arrival of the representative of the CRM party in the person of Akumanga and Nji. They call him Despan. We hope that he's going to be joining us in the course of the program. But let's start with you, Doctor. We've seen this tussle between municipal authorities and these shopkeepers for years now, and with very little success to beat ghost towns on Mondays.
Yeah, there should really be little success, Leo, because this translates the determination of the Ambazonians, let me call it that way, the Ambazonian, to go to the desired end. You remember the issue of ghost towns, call it strikes or country Sunday, as they call it up that way, when it started in 2017. It was like a joke because they were looking at what usually holds during the colonial period. What they used to call peaceful strikes. People just sit down and observe and nobody goes to work. And they thought that they could implement that in the 21st century and it's going to work. But two, it's supposed to work, and I know it is working, but for the fact that there is also the government determination to see this fail. And you see, the two parties, they are fighting each other, and it is a pity that the common man in this society is suffering. The government has used all measures since 2017 to stop it. This started immediately when Agbobara and Fontem Neba were arrested. And that is when the ghost town started, because sometimes it's good to actually cover and mention images.
The ghost town already has been existing even before the arrest.
I mean, actually, when it concerns the Ambazonian and the crisis, this is actually where they put an accent on. And that is when they started declaring ghost town from Monday to Wednesdays. And still, it didn't work. Well, it didn't work because things are still moving. There are still activities in the Northwest and Southwest region. But then we think that the determination of the people of the Northwest and Southwest to go to their desired end, is making it very, very unbearable for the government. And then the government is trying to use all measures, sealing shops and all whatnot, because the government too is feeling the pinch. Economically, the government is actually gasping for breath. Government is spending a lot of money to pay civil servants who are there in the Northwest and Southwest region not doing anything. Now, I want to bring you to an interesting thing that I read in Cardinal Tume's recent book, My Nights in Captivity. And when Cardinal Tume recounted how, when he arrived Bamenda, and he sought to see the governor of the Northwest region, that was on a Monday. And then he called the governor, and the governor said, on Mondays, he receives people in his house. He doesn't go to the office. This speaks volumes. This speaks really volumes. That is inscribed and in bold letters in Cardinal Tume's recent book, My Night in Captivity. This tells you exactly that the issue of ghost town is not a joking matter. Even administrative authorities, they themselves feel that Mondays are days that they are not supposed to go out. Yeah, so nobody's afraid.
But you say it is the determination of the people. Are you saying that the people are is it the decision of the people not to go out on Monday, or it is the decision of the separatist leaders? Well,
the people think that the people fear more the separatist leaders who are with them in the communities than the military who comes from time to time.
Yeah, but you just said it is the determination of the people.
True.
It is the people that
I can back that up. Recently in the Bamenda main market, you saw there were traders who came out and they stood and said they are going to be respecting ghost towns. That was categorical. It's just about 2 weeks ago. I mean, it means that it is a determination of the people in one way. The people are determined. This determination could be out of fear. It could not be, maybe it's not voluntary. It could be out of fear. And I want to say that very clear. And how do we know a character? We know a character from what he says and what other people say about him. So if the people come out and say, we are going to respect the ghost town, I mean, totally.
Did they not give reasons for that?
They gave a reason because the reason they gave is that the administration not able to protect them. The administration not able to protect them because when they do not respect ghost town, what happened? The boys they come and maybe there's arbitrary kidnapping and whatsoever. So they feel very, very insecure more in the hands of the boys than in the hands of the administration. So, and that is why I talk more about the fact that they are feeling, maybe it's not out of voluntary will, maybe it's out of fear. So actually they fear the boys in the bushes. I do not think that it is total, it's everybody in the Northwest and Southwest who actually, because when we even look at the issue of ghost town, it's much more in the main towns. Bamenda, Buya, Limbe is out of that, Kumba and whatsoever. So but when you go into the hinterlands, when you go into the villages, it is not much more intense as what you see in towns. So we think that those in towns is an economic hubs, and we think that they in towns actually are making a calculation of their lives before their businesses. I take care of my life first before business. If you like, you lock my business place. But first is that my life has to be secured. And that is exactly what the people are trying to do. They are securing their life first before their businesses. And therefore, when the administration comes and they think that they want to frighten the people, they want to frighten them by locking their shops, they just laugh at them. Many people have tried. You look at Ekema. I mean, they are laughing off because you look at the late Ekema in Buya. He tried that and he left them. And the ghost towns are still continuing. I mean, the other mayor has come and is trying. And he's still intensifying. Go to Bamenda. Even the city mayor has come. He's trying. And the ghost towns are still continuing. So we think that it is in solidarity too. It is also in solidarity with the Anglophone cause. Because the people too say, we want this Anglophone crisis to be solved. Let the government after look for a way to solve the Anglophone crisis. Because calling off ghost town also means that after they have given up. And they do not want to give up so soon without having had what they were clamoring for. They at least want to have, a percentage of what they were asking for before they say it is off with the ghost town. So ghost town continues, and the government to continue to lock shop. And the fast is that they lock shops, and within days the shops are open because the government, these people pay taxes, and it is unlawful for government to lock their shops. I mean, if I decide not to go to work, not to open my shop, and I pay taxes, what is the government business in that? So I think that the government is just trying to flex muscles with people unnecessarily. I call this unnecessarily. The government shouldn't do this. It should allow the people, if they do not have the will or the strategy to solve the problem or to appease the people in their demand, they should just let the people do, and concentrate on the taxes that the people are paying. I think that does it. Yes.
Professor Mark Anthony, is it the method that is used that is not yielding fruits, or the fact that the people are helpless?
I want to say the people are helpless as well as the method is not a good method.
Okay.
Let me begin by talking about the method. Mm-hmm. It is practically not visible that because somebody didn't open his shop on a Monday, you should go close it. That is a wrong strategy. Touching a point where Dr. DiMancio spoke about the taxpayers, they pay their taxes. And as long as they pay their taxes, it is in their right to choose when to come open their shops. That strategy is wrong. That is why our late mayor in Buya tried that particular strategy and it didn't work. Some people will say it worked because the shops are open in some places. No, it didn't work. Because till now as we are talking, some of those shops are still not being open on Mondays. This strategy has for a very long period of time been used. No results have been yielded, but I still see mayors struggling to implement it. The other day in Bamenda, I think Bamenda 3, it was the GO that went out to close shops. I don't know if it has become the duty of the GO to do that. But that strategy is not working. You can't, at a particular period of time, join to afflict the people because you think that you need to force them to open their shops, because that's an affliction that the mayors and the GOs are actually infringing on these citizens of the Northwest and Southwest, precisely the business people. If they didn't open their shops on Monday, we come in now the fear factor. Most of them are afraid of their lives. Considering the fact that for a very long period of time, this is practically 3 years, that the kidnapping idea came in, where most of these individuals are being kidnapped. They ask for ransom, they pay. Some of them are killed. Some of them, their shops are burned. I've not heard since the start of this crisis that the shops of those businessmen that were burned had been compensated for. I've not heard that. As long as I think that I should, for one day, not go to business to protect my life, and I have the rest of the week to go for business, then I will better respect sitting in the house to protect my life and that same business in order to have a day to live, rather than go against. This is also to point another fact, Mr. Leo, that the fact that we are being told that the government has defeated the Amber Boys, and we still see insecurity on the streets, we still see people being killed, points something. Those people's lives are not protected. And that is the duty of the government, to protect their lives. And as long as they are not protected, it becomes practically difficult for them to step out to go open their shops. Sure. On a day when they know that if you open that shop, it is easy for those Amber Boys to come out and not only kill you, burn your shop, and even target your family.
Is your life not protected?
My life, I am in Douala. I'm not there. You see, I am not talking for the people in Littoral.
Okay.
I'm talking for the people in the Northwest and the Southwest. Many of those who have been killed, many of those who have been arrested, or let me say kidnapped, where was security? Where was security?
Okay, they were taking
the businesses that were burnt, Mr. Leo, why was it not protected from being burnt? So do you think that if you are thinking wisely, and let's just normal thinking person, will you choose to step out so that they should target your home and your family, and even target your business and burn? Or will you better sit at home, let that shop be closed? I prefer to sit at home, let the shop be closed, rather than step out and risk my life.
Okay. These mayors under pressure from Yaoundé to deliver, to get these shops open, and do they measure the full weight implication of business guys opening their shops, to the extent that the business guys in Bamenda came out, I'm sure last week, in Bamenda to say we are not going to do it because we fear for our shops.
Yeah, Mr. Leo, when we talk of ghost town, we mean something invisible. So when we talk of something that is invisible, it means that thing will come and go by itself. Okay. Now, when the government is compelling these businessmen to open their shops because they want the ghost town to disappear, the first question I will ask is that, is it the Cameroon government that gave these guys the capital to begin their businesses? because the capital is theirs and the profit they are supposed to make is for their own good. And now if they find it important to secure their lives, it's still for their own good. Because at the end of the day, we'll notice that the government who compels them, or the regime who compels them opening their shops, will not be there for them. Because you will agree with me that these guys practice the hit and run method. They practice the hit and run method, and when they kidnap these guys who have gone contrary to what they say, I will tell you, Mr. Leo, these guys do not go in for the ghost town because they want to. It is because they are compelled to. It is because they want to keep their lives in security and that of their children, and perhaps protect the little capital they have to be able to continue feeding their families. And let me tell you, Mr. Leo, in the Northwest and Southwest region, we always had the tradition of, we call it Country Sunday. Like in my village, we have the Country Sunday.
Every village.
Okay? It is a natural thing to us. We are used to Country Sunday. So these guys probably, they found it necessary, if not necessary for everybody, necessary for them to implement Ghost Town so that they make the regime understand that they are serious with what they are asking. Because this war is a socio-political problem and they have something they are asking from the government. Now, the government will not use short-handed solutions like compelling these guys or the inhabitants of the Northwest and Southwest region to open their shops. Rather, they should bring us solutions. We want this Northwest and Southwest crisis to come to an end. Not short-handed solutions or window dressings, because at the end of the day, you will notice that they are comparing powers. They are trying, because we found out that the Minat Atanganji was in Bamenda, and he said it openly that the government is winning the war. So we are going to deduce from his words that they do not have the population at heart. They do not have the population at heart. Rather, they are trying to protect their personal interests.
How would you say that?
If they had the population at heart, you will not tell me that a population who is under insecurity, and you know that after you compel them opening their shops, they will be kidnapped and perhaps killed. And even if they are being asked of ransom, it is their family who gives the ransom, not the government. So at the end of the day, the failure or the person that endorses most of the problems, it is the inhabitants. Because when they compel these guys, they go away. And even if they come there secured, highly secured, protected. But we, the population who has nothing or nobody to protect them, or has nowhere to run to, or has no money to pay a visa to go out of the country, we are compelled to suffer. We are compelled to protect our lives. We are compelled to move in the direction of these separatist fighters. Not because we accept what they say, not because we concur to what they want, because we want to protect our lives, because we want to protect our children, because we want to protect the little capital we have. So I think the government is using a wrong method. And this method is favorable to them. It is a political method they are trying to induce, to subdue. It is a political battle between them and the separatist fighters. They are trying to say, we are not giving up. The separatists on their own side say, we are not giving up. So it is they are comparing powers. They are trying to see who will win. So they do not have the population at heart.
Okay, good evening to you, Paul Wanka, and to you, Prosperity J. Godi New Kongi, who is always watching. Good evening to you, Smite Bright, and to you, Song and Derek Godi, Sheila Bright and Kafu, Rock Aban, Ni Abakwa, Kwita Ngwatem. Good evening to you, Josfno Beat, and to all of you watching us on social media. Now, Dr. Dimancho, what would change if the shops are open and taxis are kept at home? Because seemingly the focus is only on the shopkeepers. We don't see the mayors also forcing the taximen to take to the streets, and other persons who are respecting the ghost towns, like some government offices are not open on these days.
Of course, and that's what I'm saying, that this issue of ghost town is embedded. It is something that is really in the people, it's really in the system and the northwest and southwest regions. Because it appears as if the government is concentrating on one sector. Talking about the taxes, you know that there is a mayor who tried to beat this issue of the ghost town and he didn't succeed. And how did he do it? There was an announced purchase of, or put in place of taxes in a town of Buea by the late Mayor Ekema. And no sooner than later, those taxes, they disappeared. We didn't hear about it again. So just to tell you how the government is utterly panting for breath about this issue. Now, you see, the government too is guilty, because when we were talking about ghost towns, the government started the ghost towns. The people only copied from the government as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. What am I saying? You remember that when this issue started, that in 2017, the government disconnected internet from the southwest and northwest regions for over 3 months. This is another form of ghost town. In the 21st century, where banks are supposed to work with internet, where businesses are supposed to work with internet, where startups are supposed to work with internet, the government disconnected internet for over 3 months. It became an international issue. This, to me, was more of a ghost town than what the northwest, than what is happening now in the northwest and southwest region. So you find that, the government is just only trying maybe to quench what they have started, to quench the fire that they leak. And I think that when you are guilty of a sin and then you are condemning somebody of the same sin, there is no way in which you will find any good you will have a good conscience. So I think the issue of taxes circulating, taxes are driven by who? They are still driven by citizens. And I know that the taxi drivers are one of those those citizens who are most exposed to insecurity. Taxi drivers, they know that, they are with insecurity each day. And therefore, if they attempt, nobody would like to lose his taxi. Most of these guys, those taxis that they drive are not their taxis. And their owners will tell them, please, let nothing happen to my taxi. If you should respect, I'm sure that even the owners are educating the taxi drivers about ghost towns. Do not respect ghost town, because if you respect ghost town and my taxi is burned down, by the way, we have seen so many taxis burned down in towns of Bamenda, Buea, all those places the Ambazonians. So nobody would dare risk his life, risk his property because of that. And the government knows that talking to a taxi driver will be like throwing water on legs back, because I know even the taxi drivers, most of them are actually in solidarity with what is happening. When we talk about people coming out, for like in 2016, most of the people who came out with branches on whatsoever, let me tell you, there are people like the taxi driver and the bag rider who came out with a peace plan to be able to.
They should be getting the economic pinch of the ghost town today.
Of course. Every measure, they will have to measure up, their economic gains with what is happening. Extraordinary measures to employ extraordinary situations to bring in extraordinary measures. So if they used to have maybe a certain sum of money or income in a week, they should learn to be able to adjust it this time, just like any other person is adjusting. Business people are adjusting to it. The banks are adjusting to it. Everybody is adjusting. One more, taxi drivers too should learn to adjust to their income and then what they feed with their family and whatsoever. So I think that everybody in the northwest and southwest region has adjusted his or her life in one way or another, because they know that Monday is out of place. And if people used to work, people used to work 6 on 7. They could still work 6 on 7. They leave Monday to be their own Sunday that they used to rest, and they work from, that is right, from Tuesday to Sunday. This is adjusting to the situations of life. Everybody has to. That is the situation that's right.
We must keep the Sabbath holy now.
Well,
are we going to move the Sabbath to Monday?
Of course, keeping the Sabbath holy is a good thing. But the question I want to ask is, the Sabbath itself is cognizant of the situation of the people in the northwest and southwest region. Like somebody asked me the other day, is God asleep? I think that, people who go to work on Sunday have a reason why they go. And like somebody also said, I will prefer to feed my family on a Sunday by going to work than to leave my family hungry and not go to work.
Okay.
What will you prefer? That is it.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu and the panel members. Let us stop chasing shadows and address substance. Cliff Fofun, writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Cliff. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to the panel. Special thanks goes to my brother with coat, who have just told the government the truth about what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest regions, because when you give an opportunity to an enemy, it gives them new ways to handle this war. So as long as the government keeps winning the war with wrong, okay. Wabatum writing from whom? Wabatum, where are you writing from? A whom? Is it around Three Corners, or is it in ICOM? Greetings, Mr. Liu. I'm watching from London. Good evening to you, Boniface. Who is watching from London? Good evening, Mr. Liu, and all the panelists. Selling shops is doing more harm than good. If you look, okay, your shop and you pay taxes, what's the government's business in that? People's lives are very important. First, genuine dialogue is the answer to this. Blashos is writing from Kutaba. Good evening to you, Blashos. Professor Mark Anthony, we have been living this ghost town phenomenon for close to 4 years now. What would you say is the benefit or is the gain of these ghost towns?
Mr. Leo, this ghost town doesn't really have any gain because it is affecting the entire nation economically. And sincerely, that should be the reason why the Amber Boys instituted it, so as to crumble the economy of the nation. And in that direction, it is succeeded because when on Mondays shops do not get open, businesses are closed in the Northwest and Southwest, that is a whole business day that has been drowned. And it affects the economy directly. When it comes to the people of Northwest and Southwest, even though they are respecting the ghost towns, they are suffering in the midst of it. Why did I say they are suffering? It is directly affecting their daily affairs, to a state where most of them, on that particular day, which they, before they could use in accomplishing another thing, they sit at home and there is no entry. That particular day, they rather spend. So that is affecting their economy. And as taking to what the doctor just said, I want to say, normally in a day we have 5 working days. It's not even 7. We have 5 working days. From Monday till Friday, according to the Cameroon system. And I believe that we do not necessarily need to increase from Monday to Sunday. If things need to be in a balance, because I've seen that in some places, the DOs have instituted cleanup, where on Mondays they come out to clean the town. And work days continue till Saturday. But it is obvious that people know that their work day begins on Monday to Saturday, so it's to Friday. So it's difficult to push them to work on Saturday. And so, like I said, Mr. Leo, the economy of this nation, Cameroon, is greatly affected. And you can see it not only on the traders, you can see it everywhere around the nation of Cameroon. You hear business people in Douala complaining about what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest as affecting them directly, economically. You go to Bafoussam, the same thing. Even to Yaoundé, the same thing. People are complaining. Why? Because most of these traders used to leave, come to Douala, buy, go back, and there is this today, easy transaction.
Today I'm here. I'm told that Mondays has become their purchasing days in Douala. That they buy on Mondays,
so come and buy and go back,
and they take off in the night.
Yes, it's possible. The one thing I also say is that financially they are on able to do what they were doing before. That's why even in Douala you hear business people complain that I used to say at this dimension, but now I can no more, because the people, first, you don't know when you are going to sell.
The population has reduced.
And secondly, you can come and buy those things and go, and they are burnt up. So people are scared.
Are the mayors unaware of what we are discussing?
The mayors are not unaware, because some of them do not open their offices on Monday. They do respect the ghost towns. So I don't know why on Monday they are unable to go open their business, their offices, but they want the common man out there in the street to go open their shops. So I think it is necessary for these people to sit down, think on strategies that will be very impactful than strategies that are useless.
Okay.
Because the ghost town idea is, in fact, they cannot stop it using closing shops. That's not the best way to do it. They can't close it. But as I said, Mr. Leo, the ghost town idea is also not the best at this moment.
Okay.
It is putting the people under unnecessary stress.
Okay. Good evening to you, my very good friend from Courage. You should be watching us from Canada. And to you, Ekoge, and Kafu Rockaban, Steve Duff, good evening to you. Jido Fonkem G, good evening to you. The Mix, and to you, Adams Tafon. Why is the focus on these shop owners when we know that many other sectors are affected? And on Monday, schools are closed now?
Yes.
Yes. Many other sectors, the taxi sector is closed, the schools are closed, the banks themselves are closed, almost every other sector. Why is the focus on these shops? Yeah.
Mr. Combe, I think that it is because they know what they will gain from these shop owners. Because they tell us that when your shop is being sealed, before you go for it to be reopened, you pay fine. You pay a fine. And that fine may be their point of attraction.
Okay.
Because the government always has a way of, like I previously said, they do not have the population at heart. Whatever they do, whatever strategy they bring out is to their own personal benefit. So I think that they are focusing on the fines these guys will come and pay for their shops to be reopened, which I don't know the necessity for these fines. Normally, the government would have instead come with a strategy like, those that will open on Monday, we are going to reduce their taxes. Or better still, nullify their taxes totally. It would have been a better approach to seduce those that will be able to open, rather than compelling them on opening their shops. And if they do not open these shops, it will be sealed and fines will come to their personal pockets. For me, that's their point of attraction. Because you see, these taxi men, perhaps these taxi men are those that are transporting. And transportation, it's when the population is outside. So the population cannot be outside, and these guys keep burning their petrol. When there are no populations for them to transport, there will not be cars or bikes on the road. So I think that they focus on the shops, because when it will be sealed, fines will be paid and they will enlarge their personal pockets.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, what if you open your shops and the population is not there to buy? What happens? Will it serve a purpose?
Well, it will not serve a purpose. At the end of the day, the loser is the population. I told you previously that whatever the government does is to their benefit. They do not care about the population. They do not care that these guys, if they open their shops, there will be nobody to buy. They just want to, implement what they have, arranged in Yaoundé. What they have arranged in Yaoundé to better measure powers with these separatist fighters. So they do not have the population at heart. The population will always be the loser at both ends. We do not applaud the ghost town. It is something that nobody will like, because it has affected the population, the economy of the country, in and out of these zones. Because you will agree with me that all the other regions of Cameroon have been affected. In Yaoundé they cry, in Douala we cry, because these two zones were practically known for them producing our local products like beans, yams, cocoa yams, and all that. So it has greatly affected all the Cameroon 10 regions. So we do not think that it is a good strategy. But we also think that these populations should respect for their own safety, for their own interests, personal interests, to be able to prevent these guys to come and burn their houses, kidnap them, and later ask them to pay ransom, which they do not even have the money, and the government will not sustain them at any point.
Mr. Liu, I'm Sama Elvis in Douala, sir. The people in government spoiling this country are not up to 4% of the population of Cameroon. For them to change, they want to change the remaining 96%. How possible is that? Good evening to you. Boniface says, interesting program tonight. Boniface writing from UK. Good evening to you. Good evening, my junior. How are you doing? Long time. Okay, God bless you too. God bless you too. Good evening, Mr. Liu and Peter from Bamenda. We don't take orders from mayors. We did not vote for them. Hello, good evening. Sir, I'm Divine from Tarikon. A child whose parents or siblings was killed with a gun is going to pass by every junction or steer corner before getting to school. These places are full of men with guns. How would that child concentrate in class? Okay. Good evening to the panel. In life, you have to sacrifice in order to achieve. If the population accepts that has been imposed on them, it's because they know what they will achieve at the end. First and foremost, life is important, not money. Henry is writing from Bali. Henry, what are they going to achieve? Good evening, Mr. Kum. The simple things is that the government did not see the people of Northwest and Southwest as anything. I'm Tambo Luis writing from Bengui. Good evening, Percy from Womb. I love the program. Good evening to you, Percy, writing from Womb. It is so disgraceful to see some of us who claim to have acquired good education act like puppets. This unreasonable act of theirs is a proof to show that they have run out of evil schemes. They are just confused because they know that the other side is winning. Never a day will evil rule above the truth. Okay? Good evening to you all in the studio. It's Mervis writing from Bamenda. I think if the government is fighting against Ghost Town, it means they are also affected. Why can't they stop the war? Because I don't think a father can be fighting with his own child and declare in a public that he has won. So their strategy is to stop this Ghost Town. Okay? You say Ghost Town is useless. But Dr. Michael Dimacho, 4 years after, should we still be talking about our Ghost Town? How is the Ghost Town advancing whatever cause that is fought for?
I think, actually, personally, I don't see what the Ghost Town is bringing to the people of Northwest and Southwest. But then, as we say, people must hang on something. The Ambazonians have seen that this is something they can hang on to actually keep on also flexing muscle with the government. Because without Ghost Town, I don't see any other thing that they are going to hang on. They actually want the war to continue. They want to get to their desired end. And as I did a presentation somewhere, I said, this war was long lost by us, the Anglophones. Because the war that started, it was like a holy war, it was like a just war. But when blood started being spilled, I realized that the war was almost lost. And now, what they are fighting for is for personal gains, you know, kidnappings and all those things. The war that was supposed to be against the opponent, they said the government or the military, now has turned out to be the war against our own people. Because it is not the government suffering in Bamenda. It is not the military suffering, but we are the ones suffering. But on the other side, I think that it is also wrong for the government to use the people as a shield. Because when I look at a person like the Minister of Territorial Administration, who going to Bamenda, whose security was beefed up. He was gunplated like a balloon because of gun-proof. You will not expect somebody of, that you get into Bamenda, with all the military, all places are closed because he's there, and because he's afraid, he will be asking any other people to get into that very place where he cannot go. Look at many other administrative officials, the DOs and whatsoever. Even look at the city mayor when he was addressing the people. He was in a gun-proof. I mean, the people look at that and they say, but if gold should rust, what will iron do? That is the question they're asking themselves. You look at one time when even students in the heart of Bamenda were kidnapped, were taken away by, I mean, I don't know who, the Ambazonia whatsoever, at the very height of a curfew, whereby security is supposed to be all around, at least in the middle of the town, and students were transported in a bus. How did that go? Now the people begin to realize that if those boys could penetrate and do acts and get away with, who are they to flex muscle with them? And look at what is happening when you travel to some parts of Bamenda into the villages. When I want to go to my one village, Noni, what happens is that you find a police post or a gendarmerie post here, and then 1 kilometer away, the boys are there. It means that they understand themselves. Then who am I as a citizen? Armless. A person who has no gun, who has nothing to go and be flexing or go and be trying to pull ropes with those boys. I just understand that the military and those boys, they are fighting, or they are understanding themselves, they are afraid of themselves. And then I should not be in the middle to act as a shield to any of them. And what the government is doing, the administrative officials are doing is, they want to use the population, the people, and put there, and let the people actually act, I mean, cover them in what they are doing. Look at their co-teachers to come and take their duty post in really where the crises are hardest. And what happens? Many teachers have been killed in this thing. They have been slaughtered. They have been maimed. I mean, and what is happening? The government only sends condolence words. That is all. But the lives will not come back. The people, when you die, you die. We have not seen any concrete action that has been carried out by the government, by those people who have died because they want to serve this country. Teachers, military people, I mean, even administrative officials, even a Dio, Namata, when in this kind of a useless and senseless war in Batibo, and nobody, and up to today, we have not heard about him. That is an administrative official. If a Dio can be carried away and he disappears, I mean, without any trace, who am I, a simple citizen, to try to be able to show as if I have something, some extra terrestrial power to be able to fight them? I do not have any extra power. And the only thing I can do is, if the government cannot solve this war, I sit in my house on Mondays, and on Tuesdays I go to work. If they come and seal my shop, the day will come when they come and open it. And it continues like that. And we see that actually one party, you usually say that in a marriage, for a marriage to be successful, one of the partners must die. And death here is not physical death. Death is that one of the partners must submit. And therefore, in this Anglophone crisis, if one of the partners do not submit, it is a problem. We have often said that in a crisis situation, it is the person who is up there who submits himself. In a crisis, in a war, it is not a small man who submits. It is a person who is who has the power, who has the military arsenal, who comes out and said, okay, young man, okay, I've heard you. Let us arrange this thing. It is not a small man who goes up to him. So let the government learn to actually be able to be flexible to give. And I think that a ceasefire, good, offered, and the other party refuses to take, then we can have a different kind of argument to argue. But as of now, that two parties are pulling their ropes, let the people stay at home and save their lives.
Okay, they should stay at home and save their lives. What is the best method, according to you, Professor Mark Anthony, to fight ghost towns?
That's a question that I might not be ready to give an answer, but to suggest, I want to believe that the best way to fight ghost town is to solve the problem.
Okay.
Because there is, in fact, there are no two ways. The people are respecting ghost town, not because they really want to do it, but because they feel intimidated. They feel their lives are under threat. And why is ghost town, first of all, out there? Ghost town is out there because of a crisis that was generated back 2000. Let me just use 2016, though that's not where it started. From 2016, the manner in which the officials who were supposed to handle the crisis, the outcry of the people at that particular moment, the manner in which they handled it resulted to a subsequent strategy that came up, which became ghost town, and which has actually kept on for this while. The problem is management of the crisis. So I think that the only way to actually stop this crisis is for the problem to be solved. And we have been saying over and over that we believe that the knife and the yam is in the hands of the government of Cameroon.
Yeah,
why?
But don't you also think that they could change the strategy of using the
Changing strategy is maintaining the war, and nobody wants the war. I don't think that changing the strategy and to solve Ghost Town while the war continues is helping. It will not help. If the war is still going to be going on, then they have not, whatsoever strategy that will be implemented will be useless. So I think that the only way out is for the problem to be dealt with. And Mr. Leo, severally you've heard a lot of persons, they've been calling on the Cameroon government, go for the Swiss talks. Others say, go bring these, let's sit on a round table. All what people are saying is let there be a genuine dialogue or whatsoever negotiations where this problem could be handled once and for all, so that the people of the Northwest and Southwest who are under the fear presently of Ghost Town, because they are respecting Ghost Town out of fear, under the fear of the Ambazonia.
Okay, it's not because of conviction?
No, it's not a matter of conviction. Like Doctor said earlier, this conviction could still be out of here, because when you saw the outing of the women and the men, the population that came out in front of the men market in Boyade, in Bamenda there, you realize that they made mention of some things which were so pertinent. Their manner of speaking, they spoke with boldness. It proves that they are even looking at the mayors whom they are struggling to stop the stuff as illegal. In fact, let me not use the word illegal. They are not representing their opinions and them. So they are not a legitimate call that should speak for them. So in relation to that, as long as the people of the Northwest and Southwest do not see these mayors as legitimate, they will not respect even any strategy that they bring. So
they will respect the Amber Boys. Are they legitimate?
They will only respect the Amber Boys because of the gun.
Okay.
The gun is one of the reasons why they will respect and stay in their homes. It's like we said earlier, the fear of death and the fear of destroying and burning down their businesses and targeting their families is the main reason why these people are not going to stop respecting Ghost Town. Whether the government goes up, come down, whether the mayors use what strategy. If this thing is going to stop, then let there be a dialogue. Then let this problem be genuinely solved. And when it is done, Ghost Town will naturally die. In that case, we have solved Ghost Town. And in solving Ghost Town, we have ended the war. So, I don't think, Mr. Leo, we should use any other strategy that will be able to stop the Ghost Town, rather than stopping the war that is taking place right now. That is the only means out.
Okay, that is the only way out. Now, if people say they do not respect Ghost Town out of conviction, and they are afraid of, you say the Amber Boys?
Yes.
Yes, can the Amber Boys be above a population?
Mr. Leo, the Amber Boys are not, they are not greater than the population. The population is always greater than any negative force. But the truth is, these Amber Boys are holding what the population do not have, which is the gun, the knife, the bombs, and all the other things. So that is the only thing that makes them succumb to whatever they say. It is not as if the population cannot be bold enough to denounce or say, we do not accept your Ghost Town. No. It is because they are under pressure. They are under a kind of pressure that is greater than them. There's a saying that says that if you see a rat running, it means something greater than the rat has pursued it out of its hiding place. So it means that that population that is suffering from the atrocities of the both parties is only compelled to do what they do, not because they want to, but because they are afraid to die, they are afraid to lose their properties, they are afraid to be kidnapped. And after, ransoms will be asked. And I tell you, the government practices what we call the petting method. Because when these guys are being arrested, or when these guys, or there's an atrocity that has been committed in these zones, the government will come and console you, perhaps the family, with a little money and perhaps with some kind of window dressing, like what we saw in what happened in PSS Mancon recently. We saw how the MPs of the other parties, the party on power, came and gave mattresses to these children. That is not what we need. What we need are solutions. And the government is not ready to give us that solutions. They are not ready to bring solutions that would better quench. Because at the end of the day, we'll notice that the government is playing politics. They are using the population to measure their political powers. On the other hand, we are supposed to win. On the other side, we are supposed to win. As my co-panelist said, it is not the weaker power that comes with a proposition. It is you who think you are big. And I will continue saying, it is only the government that has the sole responsibility of providing security for all its populations. It is not the separatist fighters. Okay. So whatever we cry, we are crying to the government who is up there. So the government is supposed to bring out a solution, like a compromise. Like my brother said, in a marriage, when we say positive and positive, they do not attract. It is positive and negative that attract. So one is supposed to be positive and the other negative. And we want the government that is supposed to bring us solutions, to bring us that positive charge that will attract with the negative charge of the separatist fighters, which is bringing out, announcing an inclusive dialogue. Because they know who to call. They know which finger or which button to press for this crisis to end. But they do not want to. Because they do not want to compromise. Because there are some officials or there are some people who are gaining fatly from this war on the both parties. So I think we should, or the government should provide solutions for this crisis rather than bringing out window dressing solutions like compelling the population opening their shops. Compelling the population, open your shop. If you do not open, I fine you. Where is the fine going to? In their pockets. So they always have a way of, stealing money from our population who do not have.
Okay. At the fact, Elvis, it's not always easy to sit here and talk to the population. So let's be kind. Please, Anyangui Benz, good evening to you. Governor Itush, good evening. To you and to UJF Fifth and to all of you watching on social media. Dr. Michael Dimacho is how has the ghost town help the crisis? If it's not helping the crisis, like you said earlier on, why still hang onto it? Is it that there are no other strategies to use to compel government to do what the other side wants?
You see, many other strategies have been tried, but I think that the ghost towns engulfs all the other strategies, because there was a strategy of stopping children from going to school. Mm-hmm. Well, that was respected, and that is still being respected. Now, you see that stopping children from going to school has added up to the issue of ghost town, because when you don't go to school, that is another way of civil strike. You are preventing children from going to school, and you know that the government actually has a primordial role to educate every child of the society. Mm-hmm. And therefore, when you stop the children from going to school, it means that you have defeated this government duty, this government responsibility to educate the children. And of course, the international community is looking on to you and asking, but what is happening? Now, secondly, there is the issue of businesses not working. Yes, that is their joker card. And they say if the businesses are not working, even the government offices are not working, and the banks are not working, it means that the economy is down. And one of the intentions of these boys in introducing the ghost town was that they want to cripple the economy in the northwest and southwest in order to gain control. That is their reason. Their reason is that they want to take total control of the northwest and southwest. And now, their first fight was with the military, the administrative officials, to say that the first thing was for them to go back to La République, as they call it. Now, since they are not going back, as they say, the military is not going back to the barracks, and the administrative officials are still there. Okay, we are going to use this other method of ghost town and say, okay, if you are in the northwest and in the southwest, you have to know that we are in command on this particular day. It is actually something unheard of that you find a small fraction of people commanding. That is to say that on Mondays, the northwest and southwest is being governed by another people, another person, and not the government of Cameroon. That is already something symbolic for them. They know that on Monday they are the one governing. If they can be able to cripple, to stop every activity, it means that at least once in a week, there is somebody somewhere who is governing the northwest and southwest. And for them, it is very, very important. And you know, sometimes it is a step. Like they call in psychology, they do on the step technique. Yes, you do like this in order to go to a higher step. You go from one step and you study and see how it is. You re-strategize and you go to another step. If ghost town has been going on perhaps for 3-4 years, unperturbed, undisturbed, it means that, okay, they can now re-strategize and say they have won this way. And therefore, they can go up to the next step. Who knows what is going to happen in 2021? And that is why we are saying when something goes on for more than 3 years, you already know that that thing is going in for one time too much. And therefore, the government should be able to watch out and know exactly that now for 3-4 years, there is somebody else who is running a part of a country. So the people will have to develop another joker card. We do not know what it is going to be this time around. Maybe at one moment, they will add another day and say a Tuesday. You know, it is possible.
Yeah, but
it is possible.
But won't it be, will that not be very heavy on the population, given that already their companies, not everybody that.
Do they care? We are witnesses to cases where these guys have introduced 7 days lockdown, 10 days. Do they care? To them, they say everybody should sacrifice. I remember somebody was saying that one of them, some of the boys caught him, and what they told him that we sacrifice our time in the bushes, 7 days on 7 and 12 months on 12. And you are there in town, you are enjoying yourself, you are going about your daily duties. We all have to sacrifice. So according to them, when they introduce this ghost town, it's none of their business. According to them, everybody just needs to sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And that in a war, you know, the survival or in a war is always watered by the blood of martyrs. You know, and those who die are considered as martyrs. And those who will survive will say that, okay, the martyrs watered their blood for them to survive. And that is what they're talking about. So that in a war, not everyone will survive. Just as in the promised land, not all the Israelites went through. That is what what they're saying. It has now become a holy war. Like the Muslims talk about a holy war. That they think that it's a just war for them to fight.
Yeah, tomorrow we are going to play the outing of Ebenezer Akwanga, who is presenting the state of affairs, and also listen to the audio of Ayabacho Lucas, who are not very happy with what is happening out there, especially with respect to the way the separatist fighters are treating the population. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Is Assad writing? Tell the people that she is right on point. Okay, tell. They don't know the name. I'm sure they want to talk to you. Akwen. Mr. Liu, I don't see why we are still talking about the government strategies to end this crisis when we know all is for our own personal interest. I've asked her why not turn attention now on the separatists and the leaders in the diaspora. Don't they too have something to say? Okay, Assad says, yes, all of us in the studio are blaming the government, but seemingly nobody is holding the separatist leaders to account when the separatist leaders themselves are holding the boys to account.
Mr. Liu, not to twist words, there is none of us who is happy with what is happening.
Exactly.
There is none of us.
Yeah, but Assad is asking why none of you is holding the...
You do not expect me to switch from the question that has been asked and then you answer another one. You asked me a question, which is how do we deal with the ghost town? Because you are talking about the mayors who are sealing shops. It's not against the Amber boys. They are sealing the shops.
We all have raised an issue. You said they are the population is respecting ghost town out of fear.
Fear.
All of us say it is fear, and the fear is coming from
the Amber boys.
Yeah, but none of you is addressing the Amber boys.
You see, this is the issue. We already know that is something that is evil. It's wrong. And so you will not expect me to come back and begin to talk about people.
Are you saying that if you have a junior brother who does something that you don't like, you won't talk to them? You won't call them to order?
Do you realize that we have spoken to them?
Okay. On this platform?
On this platform.
Okay.
When we openly condemn their acts, we tell them, go to DDR. Are we not talking? Already, we are not blaming them for taking the step in which they took because it was out of frustration. Most of them acted out of frustration and picked up guns and went against the state. That was a situation that came out of frustration. And when I want to talk now to them, I look at the people who are dead. They killed my uncle. They killed my uncle. Not only my uncle, there are people that have been killed, neighbors. And so in such a case, how do you expect? My wife was shot on the stomach. These things make me angry. But at times when I want to talk, I look at the faces of those who are actually doing the act that they are doing right now. I look at those who have the solution to the problem. I will better talk to the person who have the solution to the problem than to the person who is acting out of frustration. We have some guys who are sitting in Europe right now, like you just mentioned, Ayabacho and Kwanga. Those are people who are the ones who have been behind this, pushing it. What are they struggling to say now? They have been feeding fat from it. And all of us, we stood here, have sat on this same platform and said, they sitting out there, they are manipulators. And that is the same thing they are still doing now. They are manipulators. And as long as they keep manipulating, these boys who are out there frustrated, most of them joined this thing because there was no way to go. They were afraid of the fact that young boys at that particular time were the target. A lot of young boys who joined this thing knew that their lives were at risk. So they went out, and some of them went and picked guns. Those who could not run away from the environment. So if I want to talk, I will be talking to those boys who are sitting in Europe. They are the major reason why these boys are misbehaving the way they are misbehaving right now. And so when they come out and say, I do not like the way they are treating people, it is because of them that these people have taken this wrong direction that they are taking. So instead of pointing fingers and talking to these boys, let them look for a way to sit down and solve the problem. I also think that if Ebenezer Akwanga and Ayabacho have the courage, let them face the government and tell the government, okay, we are surrendering the whole issue. One day it should be solved. Rather than sit and point fingers on the wrong people. Because those boys are in those bushes fighting not because they wanted to. It is out of frustration, Mr. Liu.
Good evening to everyone. I love the way Mama is talking. The financial issue is the backbone of this crisis. The Muslims, especially the Mururu Fulani people, are the highest victims because they live on the hills. Those are not making it easy for them. Musa is writing from Bamenda. Mr. Liu, I would like you to know that out of Bamenda, a bottle of beer is 650 francs. But in Bamenda, it's 800. Who is suffering? Mr. Jonathan is writing from Bamenda. Greetings to you, Leo, and all the panelists are from Che Socrates in Boya. Ghost towns open, non-violent means that the populations are expressing their total dissatisfaction with all the wrong approaches to solving the Anglophone problems of war. If the right things are done, ghost towns will have a natural end. It can't be ended by force. Okay. Good evening to you, Socrates. Hello, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Just say congratulations to all of you guys on air. You are speaking the truth. Good evening, Mr. Liu and panelists. I'm enjoying the program. Good evening to you. It's really educative. Keep on. It's Lizzie writing from Angenicum. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Just to say congratulations to all of you. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and the panelists. It's Boris writing from Big Mancon. Moving about on Monday is very risky. Even the military will gun you down on Mondays. Hi, Liu. These mayors are really using a wrong formula to solve a complex situation. Mr. Leonard, good evening. The program is very interesting. In Bafut, the main market have not been holding for the past 4 months. The old mothers remaining in Bafut are really suffering. Shu Maurice writing from Bafut there. Now, when old mothers can't go to the market, who's suffering here?
Mr. Leo, before
the markets have not been open for 4 months.
Yeah,
sure.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And
Mr. Leo, before I answer your question, I would like to answer the person that said we haven't been denouncing the separatist fighters. You know, when I spoke, I said you cannot associate a negative and a positive charge. And when I also said, I said that these guys who are in the bushes and their how do they call it, their ghost town is not being uploaded, it means I am trying to throw out a message to them. You must not say it directly. I indirectly said these guys or the population do not accept the ghost town because they want to. It is because they are compelled to. And I said we do not upload the fact that ghost town has been implemented in these zones. It means I am trying to send a message to these guys that it is not a good method. And let me tell you, Mr. Liu, those guys in the bushes, they are very ignorant. They are ignorant. They do not even know what they are doing, to me. Because they are being excited or they are being brainwashed by those that are in the diaspora. These guys are just there because most of them are frustrated. Because most of them lost maybe one member of their family, or most of them are not financially independent. And these guys out there promise them some money, join this thing, and brainwash them. Because you understand that the cause for which this crisis started is not the same. It has changed. And these guys continue fighting. It means the cause for which they are fighting, they do not even understand it. For me, I cannot really send an accusing finger to them, but I will send an accusing finger to those who are brainwashing them in the diaspora. They sit there, enjoy with their families. Their families are going to school. Their children are enjoying pleasure. They enjoy freedom, but they incite innocent boys who are ignorant in taking guns against their own country, taking guns against their own mothers, against their own brothers, against their children. You cannot be saying you're fighting for somebody and you are the first person to kill that person. You are the first person refusing that person for not going to school. Because we tell you education is the best thing any parent can offer his child. Now, if we refuse our children not going to school, it means we are raising a generation that will be so ignorant. And tomorrow we will be held accountable for that. So it is on those who are in the diaspora to stop brainwashing, to stop whatever they are doing.
Okay.
And let me answer your question, because you gave me a question. You said these mothers are not going to their shops. Why? Is it they are suffering? Because I will tell you, Mr. Leo, most of us, when our parents they get old, we send them back to our hometowns. We open a shop for them to be able to sustain them. When these shops are being closed in the name of ghost town, they suffer. On the both sides, they suffer. The separatist fighters implemented ghost town. They are suffering. The government is trying to use military-induced power on them to open their shops. They are suffering. So at the end of the day, it is the population that endures all whatever is happening in the northwest and southwest region. So I think that the best for the population at this juncture is that they should bring out solutions. They should bring out solutions. One person should come to a compromise. I am tired. We are dying. Our children are dying. Our resources are being lost. Families have been separated. We are raising a generation that will be literally lost. They will not have anything in their heads. We are raising a generation that will be, how can I say, brutal. Because these children that are in these zones, mentally they have been when this war will stop, I tell you, Mr. Leo, we are supposed to re-educate them, because they are living a lifestyle that is not normal. Because I had a child that came to my house and said, when a little noise, even a taxi, she's afraid. It means her mentality has been formatted to the fact that she is no longer normal. So we are supposed to re-educate these children when this crisis will come to an end. There is a lot of work. So we want this war to come to an end so that our children, our mothers, and everybody will find stability. Thank you.
Okay. Now, how do we effectively get out of the ghost towns? You go with the proposal of Professor Mark Anthony that the issue is to solve the problem? Definitely.
Yes, we should solve the problem. And to come back to the fact that sometimes you said we are not talking on the, condemning the other side.
No, I was quoting somebody who wrote.
That's right. Yeah, because they are personally to know that when I started my discourse, I said when this war started, when this crisis started, we thought it was a just cause, and all of us, we thought we could go peacefully. But when blood started being spilled, I knew exactly that we are gone out of the norms and that we are not going to go anywhere. So up to now, most of those boys, I don't even want to overblame those who are over there. Most of these boys, they are dependent on Odeshi now to be able to trap, use it to trap those they call black legs or red legs. It is their issue. So I think that they need to take responsibility for what they are doing, and I don't think that these boys, if they are in their right senses, they're doing what they are doing. Actually slaughtering people in broad daylight. I think it is out of a result of uneducation. When they smoke the weed and all of this is what is acting on them, and I think that they are also asking themselves, when we come out, what will become of us? They know where they are standing. So, talking about the solution to the crisis or solutions to the issue of ghost towns, I just think that in one way or the other, let the administration try to put themselves in the sight of the population at least for once. Trying to put themselves in the population doesn't mean that they should support what the Amber Boys are doing. I think they should be able to feel the pinch of what the population feels when they go and open their shops on Sundays. And now, they should ask themselves, if the population is afraid of opening their shops on Mondays, who are they afraid of? And what do they think opening their shops will affect them? When they dissect it and they look at it and they see that the fear of the population is because they are afraid that somebody somewhere, is going to do something to them, they should be able to find out the root cause and see who that somebody somewhere is. And I think that it comes back to the fact that we should be able to sit down and be able to discuss this crisis and be able to put an end to it. And it should be a concerted action. It should not be from top down, it should be from down up. That is, the population to be implicated in the decision, in the negotiation to solve this crisis. The population should actually have a voice in solving this crisis. It shouldn't be the government always coming with force. Dialogue and meaningful dialogue, as we are talking. Professor Mark Anthony talks about the Swiss talks. Well, it went and disappeared. National dialogue came, Grand National dialogue came and disappeared. And now they're talking now about decentralization and the regional whatsoever. And the people are not seeing anything that's wrong. You now see the traders in Bermuda way are out revendicating and saying the city mayor, we don't know who is the city mayor because we didn't elect him. We already see that if the people start outright revendicating now, means that what they are going to get, the instruction from the city media is not going to hold. So let there be concerted action. There should be a dialogue. Even within, now that the decentralization, the dialogue should start from the subdivision, it should come to the division, and should come to the regional level, and let people be able to talk. And I want also that we should hold our elite into task. Our group of elites are responsible, because most of them who live in Yaoundé are responsible for what is happening. We should be able to check them. We should make check and balances about all these people. We should not only be looking at those boys in the bushes, because most of our elites are sponsoring these boys in the bush. Ask any elite in Yaoundé or from the northwest and southwest and ask and check very well and see whether they have not, 80% have not sent support to these boys. To be able to buy granules or whatever they call it, or buy guns and whatsoever. So we should be able to check and appeal to our consciences and ask ourselves if really what we are condemning, like I said, sometimes the thieves who has stolen, after all speaks much, talks much when investigation is being carried out. Because first of all, a crime committer in prison will never ever accept that he committed a crime, and that is the issue. So we should be able to make checks and balance and check all of us who are talking about this thing, whether all of us who are talking are not flaming the issue, and then you will understand that we'll get the source of and then the panacea to this problem.
Okay, you have something?
Yes, I have something to say because when I listened to him, he said that those boys in the bushes, you know, the Mr. Tanganji is like a virus, you know. You know, those boys in the bushes are not. They are not actually all illiterates. There are some literates amongst them, and I believe that they are listening and they are seeing. There are literates amongst them, but I believe that it's due to frustration because they might have had one of their family members been killed or all of their family members been killed. Some are not financially independent. We should, you know, hold that fact very, very important. The process, the fact that most of our youths in these regions are not financially independent or were not financially independent before this crisis started, and you know, those brainwashing them, propose them some money that if you join this noble cause, in quotes, according to them, we will be able to care for your family, give money to your mother, or give money to your brothers and sisters, and you take the gun against your own people. I think that's very important.
I'm intervening in this case because I want to say a lot of people did not join because they were actually paid. A lot of people joined because they were hit on one point or the other.
Yeah,
you see,
she raised the issue.
Yes,
of
we are conscious. We are conscious of the fact that on the 1st of October 2017, there was total bloodshed that was announced. Though the minister came out and said about 4 people died, that was the beginning of anger. People had gone out with frustration. It was not well handled. Then killing started.
Yeah.
It cost a lot of persons to get off hands. And when it happens, young people were being targeted. And as long as they were being targeted, a lot of people got fear into their hearts. And so that's why I said a lot of them got into the bushes out of frustration.
Yeah.
Some of them thought it was supposed to end within a short period of time. And it is true that later on, some people were promised money.
Exactly.
And they joined the whole issue. But we are not doubting the fact, because some people are thinking that we are ignorant of the fact that the shooting started from the military side. We know all that. But that does not mean that when a wrong is done, we should support the wrong with a wrong.
No.
You don't solve a wrong with a wrong. So
Okay.
when guns were picked up, that was the error that came into the whole issue.
Okay, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we look at the situation of the dormitories that were burnt at PSS Bafoot and Mancon. Well, welcome back. You're watching Prime on my Media Prime. Okay, some people are describing many of us on the platform that we are black legs. I don't think that is good for. It's not good. I think that democracy would require that people should respect the opinions of others. I don't know what the video. I'm not sure that is the video of PSS Mancon or PSS Bafoot. It appears that is Sase. That video is misrepresenting. I will not want that video, please, Eli. We rather use the same videos of what we were discussing and not these ones. The videos I'm seeing behind me are the videos of Sase. I will not want to be used, to be accused. Okay, we can have this. Now, when we, you spoke last? Yes. Now, there was a situation in PSS Bafoot 2 days after we had the case of PSS Mancon. Is it just coincidence that these dormitories decide to take flames?
Not being fast in blaming anybody, we are already used to the fact that I want to shift somewhere. The Amber fight is against schools resuming, and these particular schools had resumed, and learning had been taking place in such institutions. And so immediately we see fire burning down institutions, there's just one person we should target. We should look at Amber Boys. And so we just believe that they are the ones who burnt it, because I don't think those children will sit in their very dormitories and then set it on fire
in the night.
That cannot be true. And it happened in Bafut. It didn't take long. It came to Mancon. That is already indicating something. It is already a serious activity. It's not just a let's say something that just happened. No, it's not a coincidence. It's something that happened. It is well calculated and well planned. And if you look at it, the target is Presbyterian schools there in Bamenda. When it happened in Boya here, it was Sase. They burnt that, because those are the institutions that are actually bothering students right now. And so if you ask me, Mr. Leo, who are those responsible for this act, I can't point fingers on many persons. We do not refuse the fact that there are different kind of actors behind this issue, but reading the hands of time, we can point fingers on one particular person, and that is the Amber Boys. They are the ones who have done it because they don't want schools to keep on going. They are doing that because they want to drive students out of school. They are doing that because they want to maintain their strategy of no schools.
Now, they want to maintain their strategy of no school. How will the fact that children are not going to school advance any course on either side?
Mr. Liu, if we can, understand what really happened in PCSS and PSS, you will understand that it's an attack to the religious schools, because this is a Presbyterian school, and I believe Sase, it's a Catholic school. We can also concur this to the outing of Cardinal Tumi. He recently came out and said the government should continue their induced military effort, and that these guys are thieves. Those are the words he used, some kind of hard words. I think that is not a coincidence. To me, it is when you attack me, I reciprocate. So I think that those that carried out this act, because I will not point a finger to the military or to the Ambazonians, because we say that they were unidentified gunmen. And I stay on that point, unidentified gunmen. These gunmen are practicing the hit and run method. I don't know. I was not there. Yes, I cannot come out.
In Bafut?
The ones that they shot those children.
No, we are talking about Bafut.
We are talking about the PCSS and PSS crisis that recently happened. So, to me, I think that they are simply reciprocating to Cardinal Tumi's outing, that he said that the government should continue their inducive method of military, and that these guys are thieves. After he's released out of captivity, he's in Yaoundé right now enjoying freedom. So there is a problem. That problem to me is that, when someone, because previously Cardinal Tumi was like supporting these guys, not really totally, but he was like, being that kind of pitting. He was not really hard on his words. But we saw that recently he has been hard. And
after
I think,
he's kidnapped.
Sure. So we can only deduce that it is an attack to the religious bodies. It is not a coincidence, because these children that were attacked in PCSS ran to PSS. They were still attacked. So I think that those that are practicing this is a hit and run method, and it's a message. It is a clear message to the person that made the outing that what you said against us, we are going to reciprocate. Why is it that it is only these Catholic and Presbyterian schools that are being attacked?
Yeah, but
is it that the other schools are not reopening?
Yes.
They are not opening. They are not active.
Yes. But why drag these children into the world? What is their crime? Because we are talking about dormitories that are being attacked. You know that this is the dormitories has their books, Yes. Their beds, almost everything that belongs to them in school.
Mr. Kum, if there is anything that calls for an international attention, is the touch on schools and on churches. When you touch these places, remember I said in my opening words that schools are like temples of learning. And when this temple is touched, nobody can stay indifferent.
Sure.
Nobody, even in this country, in Cameroon or in the world. When you remember that things have been happening in Northern and Southwest region, and many people do not talk about. But once the school is hit, especially like the children in Kumba, it was who were that gathered to condemn it. And so the boys know exactly where to hit. I want to say that in a war like what we are having now, because I call it a war now, everything is possible. Now, it will not be undoubtful if the Amber boys are also having their colleagues in these schools. In a war situation, everything is possible. It will not. Let us investigate and see whether some of these Amber boys are not students of these schools. I'm telling you the Lord, let the investigation be carried out. Now, secondly, you remember that one of the strategies of the military in the Northwest and Southwest to get Amber boys were always to send some girls to go get those boys, and then when they're merry-making with them, it is when the boys are taken hostage by the military. It is a military strategy, and the military has been succeeding in that. You send some sweet, juicy young girls to these boys who have been in the bush without acting. And now when they see, they are really excited about it. And that is where their Waterloo, they meet their Waterloo. So I am saying that if the government is serious, they should investigate these schools and the students in these schools. You know that that crime is not coming from far. That crime is within that vicinity, is within those buildings. Starting from Sase College, going to PSS Mancon, and going to, it is a crime that is just next to those schools. So all of these things, like I said, schools are very, very important institutions whereby all of us feel concerned. Because in PSS, for example, Mancon, there are not only Northwesterners who are there. We have Francophones who are there. And they know that when they touch schools like that have national repute, the issue is the cry will not only be of the Northwest region, the cry will reach Yaoundé. Because you even realize at one moment, most children of even the Francophone ministers were schooling even in Sacred Heart. And you remember when Sacred Heart was touched, it was burned one time. What happened? Within 1 week, money was raised in terms of millions to be able to rebuild the school. Because that school has a repute. It's a school that hosts most of the children of those bourgeoisie. That's what happened. And therefore, when you ask a question, why schools, there is a reason why schools. I want to actually be very subtle and maybe beg to differ with my co-partners, the representative of PCRN, about the outing of Cardinal Tuma. I think that if you read his latest book about My Nights in Captivity, he will give you a panoramic view of how he started with this crisis, trying to bring people together, and also trying to be very subtle with this boy, because he realized that he, as a shepherd, these children are also his children, and therefore he shouldn't, as a child, you don't just come to stand and condemn your child and say this child has done that. There's a way to call them, to bring them together with you, and in order to be able to dialogue. And that is what he was doing, and he has continued to do that. And even when you say that after his night in captivity, he has changed his tongue, he has not changed. The only thing that he has done is to write that book and present actually. He said he was not tortured, and that he admired the way the boys, they respected him. That it means that, and that when he was coming, the boys gave him a message. They told him, we know that you have an international repute and that you will take our voices to the international community. Means that they respect him, and they have all respected him for his outing and for who he is. And I think that he has continued to be who he is. His plans were thwarted by the government when he wanted to bring the churches together and bring these boys together for a dialogue. The government refused. I remember a mayor who said, even the government gives authorization to him, he is going to refuse the conference from Huli Mbuya. Where is the mayor today? You just know that sometimes it's not good to flex monkeys because all of us are passing. And therefore, schools actually per se, that these children have been asking, that these boys have been asking, school should not go on. Succeeding to burn down a school for them is success. Even though negative success on all of us who are condemning it, for them they find it and they rejoice. wherever they are rejoicing. Just as when they kill somebody and say it's a black leg, they kill and they film and they send to the world, they are rejoicing. And I continue to ask a question: are these boys in their normal senses? Then they kill somebody in broad daylight and then they film the person and they send to the world how they are butchering somebody. And now, if they can butcher somebody, what is a dormitory that they burn down? We are only happy that students are not touched during this the burning. Then it would have been a different thing, and therefore it will not end there. I think that security should be beefed up in all of these schools.
That is my question to you. Does it raise the issue of security in those schools operating in the southwest and northwest regions, especially the schools that are hosting students on campus?
Mr. Leo, schools don't go properly when military people are holding guns and turning around the school. I remember when we were schooling, fortunately for us, we never saw any military person around us, and it permitted us to have a good environment to learn. We are talking today about beefing up security around schools simply because of the fear of burning down schools. And I think that it is not a solution to protect the children, because it could rather become another strategy to kill those children more. Those are the places where the Amber boys want to attack. As long as they see military people instead there, they want to attack the school. And once the schools are attacked, let me use the word, when the military who are around the school, protecting the school, are attacked, those to suffer are not the military people, but the students.
What are you saying? That schools should not be secured?
I am simply saying that let this problem be solved once and for all.
If the problems have to be solved in the next 1-2 years, are you saying that the children should not be in school?
I had earlier said on this same platform that there is need for a buffer zone to be created, where learning will be very, in fact, there will be no stress around there. When a buffer zone is created, both the Amber boys and the military should respect that area and allow students to learn. A buffer zone is a well-protected environment where learning will be done without any military incursion nor Amber incursion.
Protected by who?
Mr. Leo,
it's a school. If we have to go by buffer zone means that it is a zone where the military and the
Amber boys,
they're not supposed to go there.
Yes.
Now, internationally speaking, when we look at the international conventions that regulate wars, is the school and hospitals, are they not
be
buffer
touched?
zones?
They are
not buffer zones.
They are not supposed to be touched.
Yeah. So,
but in the midst of towns, as long as shooting is taking place in the midst of town, those schools are still in the midst of town.
Yeah, but what if you create a buffer zone? What is that guarantee that somebody would not stray into it?
That is why I said it is supposed to be an agreement between the two forces fighting on the ground, that let us keep these children out of our fight. We create an area where they can go to school freely.
Why not just say that? Let us agree. Nobody goes to schools and hospitals.
That is something that will not happen, Mr. Leo, because I have seen military enter hospitals.
Yes, to check for
I have seen Amber boys enter hospitals. So in such a case, I've seen military people come to church.
Why?
I've seen Amber boys come to church.
Why?
Why are they not respecting the international convention?
So what is going to make them respect the buffer zone you are talking about?
That is the issue, Mr. Leo. That's why I said it's supposed to be a truce between the two.
And there's been an international referendum.
It's supposed to be a truce, and that is why I still went further in saying that this thing, even that I'm talking, is just a proposal in the air, because it cannot even happen. As long as this war continues, there will be these incursions. We are going to suffer these things. Children are going to suffer. Schools will be burned. Churches will be attacked, because it is an unconventional war that is taking place right now.
Now,
it is an unconventional war. Nobody is respecting anything. No rules, no regulations.
Yeah, but when we are talking about attacks on schools, we are not hearing about government schools. Presbyterian schools are constructed by the church, and the Christians, Catholic schools are the same. What is their crime? Why attack schools, destroy schools that are going to be constructed by the same parents?
Mr. Combe, to me, I will relate this to the outing of Cardinal to me.
Oh, but he's a Catholic. Presbyterian schools have nothing to do with Cardinal Tumi.
Well, we can say Cardinal Tumi, it's like he represents the religious body in Cameroon because he's a figure that is respected. Now, for them attacking the Presbyterian schools, I think that there is an insider in these schools that is giving out signals. Because you will not tell me that the government said they are going to secure schools. They are going to protect our schools. Weren't they military men when this fire arose? Question. Weren't they military men? How are we supposed to agree that it is the Ambazonian that put the fire there? Because like my co-panelist said, in a war, everything is possible. We could still believe that it is the military that put the fire and so that it should accuse the Ambazonians. It's an uncertain event. We have no sure case. Because if this military could really say that they are protecting these schools, they are not supposed to be sleeping. They are supposed to watch over these students when they are sleeping. So it means there is an insider from this party, from the party of the government, who gives signals, or better still, we do not know. Because in a military fight, they say, tout est permis, les coups comme les coups. So I believe that there is an insider that gives out signals, and on the other party, they are trying to discredit both of them. They are trying to discredit each of them. Yes, each other. That's the problem. So I think there is an insider. There is somebody, like my co-panelist recently said, he said that, isn't it possible that there are Ambazonians who are students in the schools? Because it's not written on their forehead. They might disguise and go there and say, okay, hit now, and they do the issue. They could still be military men who are working hand in hand with these Ambazonians to commit all these atrocities. We are uncertain. So we are waiting for the, how do they call it, investigations, and the results will be meted out.
The moderator issued a communique yesterday, but the communique came 2 days after the incident, and I remember that many media persons raised raised concerns, because when it was the case of Sase, just minutes after, I remember we received calls from that college that we should come immediately so that they can situate what was happening. But it took more than 2 days for the PCC to tell the population that the investigations have been open.
And Mr. Liu, I was about saying that, this war, or what happened in PCC and PSS and Mancon, could be that the other party is trying to, because when we saw that this happened, we saw MPs from the government that came and gave some matelas and some mattresses and other in PSS.
Yeah, but former students, for the case of Sase. Former students bought those things and gave, yes.
So the Sase Boys Association did that. So I think this now, talking about the communique that came some 2 days later, this now brings into question the kind of a relationship that the school governing body has with the hierarchy of the Presbyterian Church. This now, you see that there is a leakage somewhere, because if you go detail into that, you see that, there's no flow of a relationship in terms of administration as far as that.
Yeah, but every church has what they call a communication department. When something happens with, let's take the case of the Archdiocese in Bamenda. Once anything happens, the communication person is first to tell.
But it depends on the functionality of the communication department. You may not think that what holds in a Catholic church holds in other churches. We have seen cases in churches where some churches even want to, segment themselves and act as individuals. You remember the case that we had with the EEC, where each church wanted to be independent from the national church. So you should not take the example of a Catholic church. Maybe I think it look like the Catholic church, whereby you find people there's what we call the dogma of the church, whereby you don't have to question certain things. They tell you what to do, and you don't do it. They take a decision.
What is the role of the communication?
Yes. Actually, I wanted to come to that. The role of the communication is to communicate, but sometimes you don't communicate without actually finding out and talking with your hierarchy. Sometimes it's not just because there's a communication department, you just communicate. Even in the Catholic Church, you don't just communicate without talking with a bishop. If it is something that concerns the diocese, the bishop gives you the accord to give them.
What are you saying? That a
communication.
school is burnt today and 2 days after another school is burnt and nobody's communicating?
We are condemning that, and that's why I'm saying that there should be something wrong in terms of the link. I mean, in terms of the link between the communication department and maybe the moderator of the Presbyterian Church. There is something wrong there. If you find out, you know that it was not intentional. There certainly was something. Maybe they wanted to find out and make some little investigation before they come out with the communication, or something wrong. But we all who are outsiders know that there was something wrong. But internally, there may be actually something that hindered that. Now, to talk about the issue of schools being touched, like the Christian schools that are being touched, I want to bring us back to when this school year was starting in Kumbu, for example. What happened is that the military went to confessional school, to mission schools, and there was a report, a media report, that the military was driving people from mission schools, and said that until the government schools are full, the mission schools will not hold. That was a report that was made out in the media houses. So we begin to see maybe some kind of intentions that maybe the government has, maybe to frighten people, parents, from sending their children to private school, and give impression to the government that the government is functioning. Everything is possible.
These accusations are very grave.
Well, it's not a grave accusation. We are looking at all possibilities as far as war is concerned, just as we were talking about who did the act. And I talked about Amber maybe having their own people in the community, or a student. The high possibility is even that of the military having their own children in those schools. We cannot rule that. Until proper investigations are carried out, you may never ever be able to say with certitude that this is what happened.
Okay. Now, what should be the fate of other schools? What has to happen is that security is beefed up, whether you like it or not. You say the problem should be solved, but children need to conclude this school year now.
Mr. Leo,
while waiting for this,
it is just but obvious that we will expect that schools, the security should be beefed up. But the question I'm asking is, how certain are we that the military is also not the cause? How certain are we? So you see, those questions now, they keep us in a state where we end up being like we're in the middle of the road, because we do not know exactly who have done what.
Okay.
So there is need for an investigation to take place, and after that investigation has taken place, then we can come to a conclusion. But like you said, I think that to protect the children, because it is a duty of the state to protect the children, normally the best way to do it at this particular moment where guns are out is that the military should be increased around those schools. That's just beefing up the security. And Mr. Leo, you see, at times when we speak like this, it seems as if we want to take a side, but struggling to stay in the middle seems also very difficult to stand in the middle, because you are looking at the situation at hand. You know very well that there is something that is happening which there could be an easy solution, though somebody will tell you there is never an easy solution in the midst of war. But I believe that it could be dealt with once and for all, and that is why I keep on saying that let the Cameroon government go on a negotiating table and discuss this stuff, negotiate it and end it, so that we can talk of peace again. Because we keep on talking and looking for what strategy that could be applied to somehow protect people. But as long as we keep on talking of protecting, there's still going to be the opposition coming into fight. And once that happens, we know very well when two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. That's just what I know that is going to be happening. So every strategy that will be used, the government has used all the methods that they could use. We have seen all sorts of window dressing strategies that have been applied, and none has solved the problem. And if we keep on with these window dressing strategies, these cosmetic solutions, I'll be sincere, we'll be losing lives every day, like we are doing now. Every day lives will be lost. And if that is what we want to be seen, then we can keep on talking and asking how will it be solved, which strategy should be used. But I pray that as we are talking, let the government, who is the one that is the superior, take a measured decision and see how this problem can be solved around a table. And that, to me, is my way out, because there is no better way out than ending the war.
Okay, we will have to end at this juncture. Let me take a few messages and then we conclude. Oops, messages are just flowing in. It's difficult to read, it's just coming in. Dr. Okay, thank you for coming.
Thanks so much, Yo. It's a pleasure. And just to say that every contribution, every bit of contribution we give here, we give from our modest hearts, and we give with human hearts. And all we want to do is to bring a situation to stability in our regions. We are not happy. Particularly, I'm not happy staying out of my home for almost 4 years. At least it is also my hope to be able to enjoy my sweet Bamenda, as somebody sang in a song. I think that those who are actors in this war, be you abroad, be you in the bush calling yourself Amba, be you in the military, please let us actually exercise some goodwill. If you are someone who is, enjoying from the fruits or from the booties of the war, please know that that booty would act as porch, or will act as a running stomach to you and your entire family. And that gives you the more reason why you have to end it, you have to stop it, you have to work for peace to come back in the Northwest and Southwest region. Thanks so much, Leo.
Okay, thank you too for coming, Professor Mark.
Thank you, Leo. It's my pleasure always being at this platform to educate and to talk to fellow Cameroonians. I think that anytime I'm called up, I will be available. Thank you, and I want to send special greetings to my family, to my wife who is watching me right now from Boya.
Mr. Kumfa, writing from Boya, says, please don't forget that the fact that investors of educational institutions in Francophone Cameroon may be behind these burnings. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Lewis. Fred from Bamenda. I'm enjoying your program. Thank you, Fred. Good evening. Good evening. The issue truly needs serious and genuine investigation, but how can we trust the government when we still await Ngabu, Babanki, Bali, Benin, and Kumba? Okay, good evening to you people in the house. As a conflict expert, this conflict in Cameroon is an asymmetric conflict that is both parties stand firm on their positions. No one wants to shift, and the only thing that can change as of now is the interest of the disputants. Okay, thank you very much. This one says, greetings to you all in the studio. Melvis writing from Bamenda. I'm with Madame Ba, 100%. She just said it all, because if the military are the to secure the environment, when that incident happened, where were they? Okay. Mr. Kum, the simplest way to stop the Anglophone crisis is to Yuktabe and Co. are in prison just a few kilometers where the president and all the government officials reside. Raymond writing from the United Arab Emirates. Good evening, Mr. Kum. PSS Bafut and PSS Mancon are on the same campus of PSS Mancon. Okay, thanks. Okay, they all are in Bamenda. Greetings to all in the studio. Thanks for your efforts, Mr. Leo. This program needs an urgent political solution. What do your panelists think can be done to make both parties to go to the negotiation table? James Tabe is writing from Douala. Good evening to you all in the studio. Our professor is for real. The problem is not whether children should be allowed to go to school or not, but that the problem should be solved for schools to go. H-Free Church is writing from Amanda. Mr. Kum, please can you ask Doctor that when the military kills civilians also, are they not rejoicing? Okay. Hello, Mr. Leo and the entire panelists. I love watching this program every single time. It's Aiden Vioff watching from Halifax in Canada. Good evening to you. Good evening. Thank you. Really, Mr. Liu, you guys are caught in the middle of the deep sea. I only pray God protects you all for speaking for the people. Valentine is writing from from Germany. This one says, I heard what the young woman said, but the simple truth is that that spoke with that giving out a conclusion. Mr. Liu, good evening, sir. I love your program. Keep it up, sir. Just to tell you that the day human beings will realize that we all were made from dust and will return back to dust, then they will see how to end up these atrocities to one another. My brother Iyabe is writing from Bamenda. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Liu. Thank you for creating a platform like this for us to discuss important issues that is disturbing Cameroon at this moment. I want to call on the government to look for a solution to end this Anglophone crisis, because I will still speak to the fact that those 4 adolescents that were killed in Bamenda, I haven't heard any communique on this. I haven't heard anybody spoken on this. It means the lives of these children are not really important. That's the question, because normally there was supposed to be a communique from the government, the chief of communication from the government that was supposed to, bring out an investigation to bring or to tell us the crime of these adolescent children. So I call on the government to look for a solution, because enough is enough. We are tired and we want the Anglophone crisis to come to an end. Thank you.
Okay, we want to thank you, Desmond and Eli, and Noel, also Bertrand, who are producing this program, and to you, Dabi Tambe Bryant, who is supervising this program. Not forgetting you, Kaiser Michelle. We also want to say thank you to you all who took time off to watch this edition of the program. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.